You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 14th meeting of the Michigan City Water Works Board. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Call this meeting of the Water Board to order. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the meeting held October 24th.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting held October 24th, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion second that we approve the minutes from October 24th. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Purchase order.
For you have a list of 7 purchase orders. The first is to Midwest Meter, 2-inch turbo meter. This is the measuring components within the meter for $686.80. This is a confirming order. We didn't have one on the shelf and we needed one quickly. The next is to Midwest Meter. This is 1-inch meters and 2-inch strainers for stock for $2,625.72. Third is to Flanagan Tire. This is tires for truck 6 for $812.92. Number 4 is to Lowe's. This is softener salt at the water plant for $2,400.30. The 5th is to Meridian Title. This is 8 parcel title searches for that annexation land that's on Highway 20 for the water main project to verify ownership and see if there's any additional easements or anything that we need to worry about. This is a confirming order so that they could get started on it. It was $2,000 total. Number 6 is to Reeve Riley, asphalt patching. At the last meeting, we had a purchase order that was approved. We found a couple more spots that we needed them to do, so we added it on to the purchase order and revised the purchase order for these projects. These are larger patches that our crews can't do effectively with the equipment that we have. And number 7 is to McCann. This is service to our number 1 case backhoe for $4,559.92.
All right, any questions on the purchase orders?
I'll make a motion to accept the list of purchase orders dated 11/14/23.
Second.
Motion and second that we accept the purchase orders dated 11/14/2023. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Claims.
Make a motion to approve the list of claims dated November 14, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion and second that we approve the claims dated November 14th. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bad debt list.
Make a motion to approve the bad debt list dated November 14th for bookkeeping purposes only.
Second.
Motion and second that we approve the bad debt list as of November 14th for bookkeeping purposes only. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have a revised quote on the Blaine Street subdivision.
All right. So we actually quoted this back in April of 21 to Jeff Oltmans with Global Engineering and Land Surveying. And that original quote is copied here in the back. The developer was due to pay $44,575.92. They never did that. The project never moved forward. There's a new gentleman who's in the process of acquiring this subdivision, and he plans to develop it. And so, considering the length of time since this last quote was done, needed to do a new quote, and of course it needs to be approved by the board. The original project was that the department If you look on the map on the second page, the department would be doing segment A, and that is because this would also eliminate what we call a long straw, or it's a service manifold, a very small line that feeds a couple of houses. So we would put that 6-inch in. The developer would be responsible for the 6-inch in segment B, which is across the proposed subdivision. And then we were going to loop that in back up at Fogarty Street, turning off of Blaine Street onto Omi to loop into Fogarty Street. And that part would be at the department's expense as well. This is just to improve flows in the area. So segment A had a total price of $39,678 under the new pricing. Segment B was $54,890. Segment C was $65,303. So the total of the entire project was $159,871. So basically, the board, if the board continues with the original plan that was approved, developer would be quoted $54,890 minus $6,616.08. That's that 3-year revenue thing that we have to do due to state law. So with that credit, the amount due from the developer would be $48,273.92, and then the department would be responsible for $111,597.08. But only $68,847 is materials. The balance would be department labor. So it's people we're paying to work for us anyway. So it's not changing that. So my recommendation is that we quote this as originally planned, but with the new prices to the new developer.
Okay, any questions of Chris?
So you need a motion on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised quote for main extension to Blaine Street subdivision. I'll second it.
Motion second, that we approve the revised extension for the Blaine Street subdivision. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, tentative approval of an engineering agreement for the water main extension to IDOT on I-94 West Route.
Yes. So as you remember, we did give a quote to Butler's Fairman Seaford to process and give to the Indiana Department of Transportation. They're looking to run a water main out to the existing rest stop out on 94, and they're going to be building a new rest stop in the immediate future. And so once we gave them the quote, they actually came back and said they want to do this. That surprised me because it's a lot of money. It's about 1.25 miles of pipe. That's a lot of pipe. Well, so what NDOT wanted to do was basically have the project done and reimburse the department as the project's completed. So Butler Fairman Seaford has already done a lot of preliminary information gathering out there when they were hired by NDOT. And so that is actually very obviously worked into their price. Their quote is $67,500. I calculated the project to be about $200,000 in engineering, so it's a pretty significant reduction in cost. Since NDOT's a governmental entity, I would be okay, and that would be, the board's has the final decision on this, but I would be okay with doing a reimbursement program with NDOT. as long as we have a written agreement with NDOT for that reimbursement. As of right now, we do not have that agreement with NDOT. So what I was bringing this quote to the board for is I'd like to recommend that we tentatively agree to this quote from BFS. They would not have authorization, they would not get the signed document until such time that we have a satisfactory agreement with NDOT to get reimbursed for the work. So that if that takes a couple months to get worked out, then they're not gonna get started. So basically, I just kind of like to lock their price in, you know, and
Sure.
but they're, you know, until we actually give them the signed document, they're not going to be able to go forward. So I guess that's what my request is at this point is, would the board be amenable to signing the agreement, approving the agreement tentative to receiving a satisfactory agreement with NDOT for reimbursement. Also, is the board comfortable with doing the reimbursement for this project? Just to reiterate, the materials and engineering were estimated about 1.45 million. Knock off about 200,000, so about 1.25 million, plus the $67,000 that was quoted. Then obviously the department would have to front that money. We would have to buy the materials and front that money up front, but then it would be reimbursed once the project was completed. My intention is to not have the entire project complete before NDOT begins to reimburse. I think a satisfactory agreement is that NDOT reimburses as we receive pay applications from our contractor when the project's going. I know it takes time for those to go through NDOT in the past, so that'll be part of the agreement process, is pulling that together with the agreement.
Who decides on the contractor? Who approves the contractor?
Well, that'll be us. We'll be bidding the project. We'll be putting the project out to bid, and so it'll be our contractor, our supplier for materials,
Okay.
and then NDOT would just reimburse us as we complete things.
What kind of time frame are you looking at from beginning to end of the?
If we can get things worked out, I anticipate that it'll probably take us through the end of the year to get an agreement worked out with NDOT, depending on how quickly they move. On our side, I think we can move, relatively quickly. NDOT's gonna be a little slower.
Go to C,
Nature of the beast.
see if you can find C.
If that's approved, then,
I'm getting them.
once we have that approved agreement, let's say it's at the beginning of the year, then we would authorize Butler, Fairman, Seaford to begin their engineering. That should take them probably about, I would say probably 2 to 3 months, depending on what we're dealing with out there as far as the properties and soil conditions, that sort of thing. And then once they get it prepared for bids, then we would send it out to bid. And then we just follow through the bidding process. So pipe installation, I would anticipate possibly summer of next year if everything keeps marching forward.
Okay, so our guys won't be out in inclement weather over the winter then?
Right, well, the size of this project, it's not gonna be our guys doing this pipe work. This is too big of a project for my crews. We generally don't do anything 16-inch or larger. And this means gonna be 16-inch in order to have adequate flows and pressures out at that distance from our current distribution system.
So you said it's a current rest area right now?
Yeah.
Do they have well water?
They have well water. They do actually have city sewer. They have a lift station there, and they do pump their sewage to the city, and they are billed.
I wonder how much water they'll use there.
If we look at what they currently have, it's not a lot,
No?
but they're going to be building and expanding. It's a completely different facility.
Yeah.
If you've been down I-65 lately, they're basically, the state's redoing all of their rest areas, bringing them
Nice.
into the
Good.
21st century. So,
Yes. I've been down there.
and so they've been running water. For example, there's one near Highway 47, which is the Thorntown exit down by between Lafayette and Lebanon, and it's actually getting water from Lebanon. So they're running quite a bit of water main. There's another one that they're actually running about 3 miles to get water out to the
Wow.
station.
I was trying to see where it's at on the map. We don't do anything with Whitestown
Mhm.
on I-65.
Well, Whitetown,
I can't,
they may be getting the water from
somewhere else.
some in that general area.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where they're getting it, but it's over in that neighborhood, and it's a pretty long run of water
Yes.
main to get to where the rest stations are. They just recently, I think they just recently cut the ribbon on the one on I-65 at near Highway 10,
Wow.
the Roselawn area. So
Okay.
it's a big thing going on all across the state.
Okay, so you're looking for board approval to enter into,
The agreement, yeah,
enter an agreement with Butler, Fairman, and Seaford.
tentative to a satisfactory agreement with NDOT.
All right, if someone would like to make that motion,
I'll make a motion for a tentative approval of the engineering agreement with Butler, Fairman, and Seaford for water main extension to NDOT I-94 rest stop near County Roads, West 900 and North 500 West. I'll second it.
all right, there's a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, old business.
And the only thing I have right now under old business is I just wanted to know if there were any board members that are interested in attending the Water Institute, actually. It begins on, I'm gonna be leaving December 4th. The first classes are on December 5th, and they go through December 7th at lunchtime. I can take a couple of board members with me, or if a board member wants to go, doesn't want to go for the whole thing either, that can be worked out as well. So I'll need to know by the beginning of next week for sure, because we've already held some hotel rooms because those were selling out fast, but we didn't. I need to get registrations done before the deadline for early registration. So,
I want to go. I want to go.
okay.
You should let me take you. Let's put you in a wheelchair. Like the guy, I saw one, a guy in a wheelchair last year. That'd be fun. What an adventure.
Yeah, that'd be an adventure.
When I get tired of pushing, I'll haul some other guy over to help me. There was a guy last year.
And that's all I had under old business.
Any new business?
Under new business, I just want to make the board aware that our next meeting, Brian Merrill and Paul Atwood of Harbor Trust will be here to discuss our pensions position, finances.
All right. Anybody else have any old business, new business? Public comment? Comment from the directors?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the November 14th meeting of the Michigan City Water Works.
Motion second to adjourn.